What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you 5 things that I stopped doing that made me more productive. Now, before I tell you these 5 things, a little bit of a disclaimer. Am I like super successful, Bill Gates, millionaire, anything like that? No, I'm really not. So like, should you take my advice? I don't know, probably not. However, I am pretty productive. Like I do wake up in the morning and get stuff done pretty much all day. I don't spend a lot of time wasting time, right? Now, am I working on the right things? You know, you could make the argument that no, as a result of like how I live my life, but I'm very productive. So maybe someday when I switch out those things for more like productive things, then, you know, my time will come. But anyway, the first thing that I stopped doing that made me more productive was going on Facebook. Ugh, disgusting. Facebook, terrible, awful. Facebook is just like, I'm sorry. I know people from Facebook maybe watch this, but like Facebook is the stupidest, like lowest common denominator of social media that there is. And unfortunately in the recent past, like the past couple of days, I've been going on there more and getting sucked into like the Facebook world. But it's just like, it's just so bad. It's really awful. And I didn't even realize this for years because I stopped using Facebook. But I was very productive in that time because Facebook, you know, as dumb as it is, they have an amazing way of like getting you sucked into scrolling through that feed. I don't know what it is. The feed isn't even that interesting, but they just know exactly like what to show you to keep you scrolling through it. And I would find myself scrolling through the feed and thinking to myself, this isn't interesting. This is so dumb. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh my God, why am I still scrolling through this? So as soon as I stopped doing that, I found that I was much more productive. Now, like I said, I do kind of go on there from time to time. Well, from time to time, I go on there several times a day now. But what I do now, or what I try to do, is I'll just post a link or make a post, and then immediately like close the browser, close the window, right? Because the idea, the way I see it, a little bit of a tangent here, is that like this is where a lot of the coronavirus information is being spread, and I think because the people who use that, in my opinion, so sorry in advance, the people who mostly use that are far less intelligent even than like Instagram, which is not, you know, a social media site for like intelligent people by any means. But Facebook is even worse. And there's just a lot of hysteria being spread on there. So I'll post a link, I'll post maybe a post with my thoughts on it that will hopefully give some people on there a little bit more of a full picture of what's going on in the world right now. So that's number 1. Number 2 thing that I stopped doing that made me more productive is watching the news. Oh my God, I don't understand how people watch the news. I really don't. And here's the thing with the news is that you could make the argument that, okay, you're going to watch, it's time to relax, you're going to watch something, right? But the problem is that when you watch the news, they're very good at creating certain emotions in you, right? Making really just outraging, like trying to make you angry is what it is. It's anger and fear is what the news does. Regardless of whether you like, you know, liberal news media or conservative news media, it's all the same, right? Fox News, they'll make you angry about like the homeless population in San Francisco. And the liberal news media, they'll make you angry because Trump called the coronavirus the China virus. Oh my God, so terrible. So it's really just like they're trying to make you angry about something or scared about something, right? And like that's another video for another time, but this whole idea of, for example, making the headline or their top news story the worst case scenario of what could possibly happen. Like, for example, there was an article the other day on CNN. I hate myself for knowing this, but Fauci, whatever his name is, Fauci said that the US could see 100,000 deaths from the coronavirus. And then like if you read the article, you'll see that was like his worst case scenario for the outbreak, and that he's like, that's the worst case scenario, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, but I don't want to be held, I don't want to be held to these numbers. So he's like, but they don't say that in the headline. They just say like 100,000 deaths could happen. Click this news, article to see what it is. So, ever since I stopped doing that, way more productive. Like I cut it out of my life pretty much completely. Now it's kind of hard to get away from it because it's literally everywhere. But since I cut it out of my life, I find that I'm much more productive and I have a lot more time to do things, and a lot more mental energy has been freed up to do things as well. The third thing that I stopped doing that made me more productive was going on Reddit. Ugh, gross. I mean, I could have really encapsulated this entire thing by saying cutting out social media entirely, but Reddit, for those of you who don't know, Reddit has the potential to be an amazing website, but the problem is that you have a lot of because it gets so much traffic, and because the threads on Reddit and the site in general, I think, is the 5th most visited site in the United States. So that's a very attractive market for the North American market in internet marketing is the best market, pretty much. Have the most money, big population, and very, we love shopping, we love buying stuff. And we love the internet. The internet is made for people who speak English, right? You could make that argument. So Reddit is a very popular site for a lot of guerrilla marketing. And, having experience in guerrilla marketing, when during the whole crypto boom, companies would pay me to do guerrilla marketing. Companies would pay me to do guerrilla marketing for certain altcoins, right? So on Reddit and 4chan and other places too, but I know all about this. So when I see it happening in political subreddits and subreddits that aren't political but try to make things political, to get additional exposure, it's it makes me kind of disgusted, and it also makes me sad that there are people out there who might not realize this based on what I've seen on Facebook. Anyway, the bottom line, Reddit's an amazing site if you manage to kind of cut yourself off from most of the subs that are political in nature. So I still use Reddit. I still find it a very good resource if I want to learn something specific, because you do get a lot of untainted information on there regarding supplements or nootropics or different kinds of traveling to different places as well. I use it for research there. But for the most part, I don't just browse Reddit and skim Reddit like people do Facebook, for example, and just kind of scroll through the feed. Don't do it anymore. Way number 4, thing 4, habit 4 that I started doing that made me, or stopped doing, that made me more productive is eating during the day. Now, this isn't something that I started doing recently. I have pretty much been doing OMAD or the Warrior Diet or some variation of this since 2002. And I would assume most people who watch my videos regularly, they probably do OMAD anyway, or some form of fasting, or limiting their eating frequency in some way. I don't know, why else would you watch these videos? Maybe you just like me, I don't know, it's possible. But ever since, what's the problem with eating during the day that I found is that you wake up in the morning and you eat something and you experience a little bit of a lull afterwards. When I would go to work, back when the world was a different place, I would be working for, several hours a day, and then I'd be hungry and I would go eat lunch, right? And after I would eat lunch, I would have maybe 2 hours or an hour and a half where my energy would be really low because you're digesting the food, your insulin spikes, and I just experienced a little bit of a lack in productivity just because I was tired. So ever since I stopped eating during the day, basically what I'll do is I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have my coffee, I'll have my supplements, I'll have everything that I need, and I'll work all day. And then in the evening, when it's time for me to go to sleep, really, or I'm done for the day, I'll eat my big meal, I'll watch whatever I want to watch while I eat, and then I'll relax and kind of do relaxing things that don't necessarily need to be productive, because I've kind of put all my productivity into one block in the daytime, from morning till evening, basically. Does that make sense? Great. Now, thing number 5 that I stopped doing, give me a second. Thing number 5 that I stopped doing is playing video games. Oh my goodness. Now, I will say, during this quarantine, I'm so tempted to download Steam again and just start playing video games again. I'm so tempted, right? Because I'm so tempted, right? But I just haven't done it yet. Now, it's possible that I might do it in the future, but currently I have not downloaded Steam, have not played a video game since Vietnam. When was that even? 6 months ago? And I mostly don't play video games, haven't had Steam on my computer since I got a new computer, which is over a year ago, and even then would rarely play it. But what I used to do is I used to play Dota, right? I'd play Dota, play sometimes 3-4 hours a night. Sometimes I would play all day if I wasn't doing anything. I would have 14-hour marathon sessions. And needless to say, when you don't do something for 14 hours a day, you have a lot of time to do something else. So I found that that helped me quite a bit in being productive. And I definitely, not that I'm, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, not that I'm the person to listen to with this kind of thing, but I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today. And I've done a lot. I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I have a lot of content online that I'm pretty proud of. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I was still playing Dota. Okay, number 6, bonus thing that I just thought of right now is I stopped smoking marijuana. Wow, that's a big one too. When you smoke weed, I don't trust anybody who's like, oh, when I smoke weed, I'm so much more productive. Like, no, you're not. No, you're actually not. Maybe for certain creative pursuits like painting or music or something like that, smoking weed once in a while can make you more productive. But me personally, in fact, the reason I stopped smoking weed was to be more productive during my off time. I was in Australia, had a business. I would work on the business from 9 to 5, and then I would come home and I would try and learn additional skills. But I would have this habit of smoking weed in my life, so I would just be used to smoking weed. And I noticed that when I would try to learn these new skills while being high out of my mind, I wasn't really able to learn them. So I was like, okay, let me just coronavirus. Let me just stop smoking temporarily, maybe, and I'll be more productive. And the habit just kind of stuck. Anyway, those are my 6 things that I stopped doing to be more productive. What about you? Did you stop doing anything that made you more productive? Was it one of the things that I mentioned in this video? If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, also let me know. Peace.